So feel free to direct questions to any one of the presenters, but also for the four of you, if you have questions for each other, obviously, that's more than welcome as well.
This one on? Okay, great. Josina, I want to hear about the sort of dynamic between the cis and trans women in the PrEP project. How did you navigate that, and how did it work?
Honestly, I didn't have to do very much work. I think that there was more worry about it because of how we position women who are in ethnic minority groups. As like, people always assume I'm homophobic before they know that I'm queer, and I'm just like, this is bizarre to have to like overly compensate for people's fear of my homophobia. So actually, like, people who want to participate in a sexual health training who are from minority groups are already making a choice to sort of step beyond the comfort zone. Often there was things that you were talking about in your presentation about generalizing about women and who women's partners would be. But the training was in itself very neutral and making sure that people had the opportunity to hear from each other's experiences, and trans people are very used to having to talk about themselves and trying not to, sorry. And actually teaching people how to be better health advocates, because the fight is so bloody hard. And there are some parallels for women of colour who aren't trans, but in terms of self-organisation and health activism. But there weren't clashes, and there was a lot more fear of it than it was in reality. I mean, I can't say, like, we're still in the process of having an evaluation take place, like an external evaluation of the project. So there might be things that people haven't told me, but in terms of the training that I delivered, which were with groups of cis and trans women, there weren't issues. I mean, yeah, it was a really, like, and also, like, there was moments where people were expecting more pushback when we were talking about sex workers, and there wasn't, or it was just, and often things that we might expect because we see it on Twitter as being such a bloodbath. Actually, people can really work together, and I'm proud that it could be so intersectional without much effort.
All right, so let's do 2 questions here, and then we'll go over there.
Hi, my name's Jamie. It's more an observation, really, rather than a question. It's to do with visibility and inclusion. One of the things that I've noticed, and I'm guilty of this as well when I've been involved in any projects, you produce information, pictures, so there'll be posters or a brochure or various other things that go on social media. One of the things that I find in now is that some things are very visible in the picture. You can tell certain things about an individual when you see the picture, and that might be age or whatever. There's other things you can't tell. That might be if they're trans, if they're non-binary, if they're sex workers. So what I was thinking was maybe a small sentence at the bottom of the picture that says, we are using real people, and it includes these people. So therefore, you're given visibility and inclusion, and so other people, when they see that, they might not see that bit at the bottom, but if they do, then they know that they're included as well. And so that was just my observation of. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jide Macaulay, Director of House of Rainbow in London, an organization that supports sexual minorities, reconciling faith and sexuality. I want to say that thanks for all your presentations. They were very interesting and detailed. I believe that we work on the principle of nothing about us without us. And my question is actually to Jennifer. Thanks for your detailed talk. You have presented your information with reference to the issues affecting Nigerian female sex workers. Are all the female sex workers Nigerian? My first point. Are there other ethnic groups not reported in your study or in your case? Also, I feel challenged that a Nigerian female sex worker or someone that represents Nigerians could have been at your side today presenting. And I'm beginning to see sometimes a pattern or some kind of neo-colonialism where people of other race are presenting on my race, for example. And it takes away the voice of the affected group of people. And I'm very concerned. So, and it's not the first time I've seen this, and I have to say that. And I think that, you know, my friends who presented on the trans issues obviously made some crucial points as well. Finally, can you share with the conference if there were challenges of getting someone from the community to actually speak for themselves? Thank you.
Okay, I would love that this presentation would have not been done by me and instead by a woman we are working with. But the issues that I was addressing in this presentation was actually totally about the reason why it's complicated for them to take to be able to have the right to not be, I don't know, sorry for my French, but I think it's very this woman, this ça va être très dur là. Ouais, ça va être très très dur parce que je trouvais ça vraiment très hardcore comme le problème justement, c'est que ces femmes elles ont des difficultés à prendre la parole, elles ont des difficultés à
It's more that these particular women, cis women, sorry, that's for you two, but not just for you two, obviously, are in a position of not being able at the moment to take that position and speak up. It's not that the project doesn't want them to, it's finding those people to actually be able to be mobilized with us. That's what one of the project objectives is. They don't have papers, so that makes it very complicated to get them to travel and even to be part of the actions with us. They take part alongside with us in France in advocacy issues and advocacy actions. It's not a total reply. Perhaps we can talk about it if you want to come and ask the questions more directly. We can have an easier translation between me, Jennifer, and other people.
So we have another 4 questions. If you have more than one question, I would ask that you pick one of them. So we'll do the 3 here and then the last question here.
If there are 4 presenters, I think it's a different question. Okay, anyway, I will try to make it.
We only have 10 minutes,
yeah,
sorry.
I know. Thank you very much for your presentation. My name is Kirom, I'm from Tajikistan in Central Asia, and first 2 questions directly goes to the last presenters and one general for all of them. It's just because I was curious about the situation. And with a small remark, because the funds is usually related to visibility and participation of people. You are more participating, you are more visible, you will get the fund, you will be part of the community and all the things. But it was really sad to hear that you start your presentation that it was a lot of talk about the MSM. You felt you want to leave the conference there. It was something like that. Yes, but for the last few years, if you see the picture, because before it was LGBT always together, but now it's coming separate, transgender community separate, and gay, bisexual, and lesbian community becoming more and more separate with the different activities. And my question goes, why, what is the barrier to include the services for trans people into the created already platform and clinics for gay and bisexual people? What is the issue? And are you planning to extend your work around the entire WHO European region? And the last question, I didn't see any information in your old presentation in terms of the collaboration with the different groups and the different organizations. Thank you.
So just in the interest of time, I'm going to take one more question and then we can respond if that's okay.
Hello, this is Ingo from Berlin, HIV specialist and occupational health specialist. I just had a presentation for my medical colleagues in Berlin. I was talking about hormonal replacement in men, and I just figured out that they were not very much interested in this, so it was just a couple of younger guys of our HIV specialists, and I think I would like to go into this field, but I think we doctors, we need help from you especially Max is living in Berlin, to help us just to build up something together. And I don't know if you would rather go to endocrinologist or do all your testings in the clinic together, like with HIV, social counseling, or what would you prefer?
All right, so.
I mean, first, I feel slightly misquoted. I wasn't complaining about discussions about MSM. I was complaining about the conference's inability to say cis MSM when that's who you're talking about. Talk about cis MSM, that's fine, but make clear that you know that you're excluding trans men from the conversation, or that it's not about trans men. Don't say men and only mean cis men. That's offensive. That's what the problem is. So I hope that clarifies.
And if you say men, then please do it if you really also include trans men.
As Josina very well represented with the PrEP project, that's a great example. When you say women and you mean cis and trans women, then that's fine and great. On the issue of segregation in these spaces, I think this is really to both of your questions. Trans people generally are approaching healthcare from a position of fear. And we do a lot of word of mouth. This space is safe, this person is safe. Every endocrinologist I've ever seen has been recommended by another trans person. So it's about putting the time in to make your space one that's not transphobic. And that's not something that's going to happen overnight by saying we want to start treating trans people or we'd like to put these clinics together. I don't think that we generally are opposed to that as a community of trans folks, so much as we need to, if we have something that's safe already, we're not going to change to something that might not be safe.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. I mean, I live in Berlin, which is Germany's capital, as everyone knows, but I have a hard time finding specialists. Like, I have one doctor who is like the community doctor for trans people. He treats most trans people that I know, but he's full. Like, he doesn't accept any new patients anymore. And already, like, finding someone else besides him.
That's Christoph.
Yeah, it's Christoph, exactly. It's hard. I mean, there is few other places that is also kind of like, as Keenan said, by hearsay, where people said, like, yeah, I got my treatment, but it's not ideal. You might get your hormones there, but you might not get your STI check there. Like, I go to my doctor and I get everything together. But then you need a neurologist, you need, I don't know, gynecologist, whatever, proctologist, whatever is needed for trans people as well. There it already ends, and there is no network. There is no, like, there's no list or something of doctors that is in the community, because we don't know, like, a lot of trans people, as I said, they don't go to preventive healthcare checkups, and if you don't go there, you also don't know which doctor is good, you know? So, but also with the experiences that I have made, like with the body, like the way I look going into a so-called women's clinic, it's fucked up. Sorry for using that language, but I can't describe it any differently. And people coming up and calling you from the waiting room, Miss Appenroth, please, and I'm just like, excuse me? Like, you know, it's because people don't care. That's the problem. You go into a care facility, but people don't care, really, and that is the problem. And this is happening, as I said, in the capital. I don't even want to know what's happening outside of Berlin. And there are some good practice examples, but it's like that many for a community, for a proper community, for a bunch of people, and not only like single people here and there. And this is what needs to change. And like, if as I said, if you're interested, no matter if you're a researcher, if you're a care provider, reach out to the community, talk to the people and say like, listen, we want to do something together, but then please also use your privileged position and make sure that the knowledge that you want to gain is also being reimbursed to the community. This is something that it's also a loop that I'm repeating, but this is so important to support the community in every way you can. And I mean, in Germany, like with the German AIDS Council and the Robert Koch Institute, which is the federal health research institution in Germany, we just submitted to the Ministry of Health a proposal for a research project about trans people, sexual health of trans people. And this project, like the application was made like together with several people from within the community who actually like had us like, I would like an equal, at least equal say, if not even like in some ways like the last word of what is going down into this application, you know, and this is something that needs to happen, like eye-level conversations with the community to engage us in research, because like this is the only way it can be done.
I just wanted to, the thing is going back to me as a doctor as well. I feel afraid of get pushed back by trans men, like getting the, I don't know, if you say I'm not able enough to give medical support. I have anxiety as well.
But so you know, Christoph, you call him and be like, listen, where can I get my education? I need more education. Yeah. So this is what you need to do. Just make sure you get the education.
Just a little comment, because I'm a physician as well. So I work in Warsaw in infectious diseases. I've never had a trans patient. So it would be wonderful if you could just come and teach us. And basically, I think it would be, because we keep talking about that PrEP should be community-based, but I don't see so many physicians here, and I think it would be wonderful if we like worked all together, if you could come to universities, if you could come to hospitals, GPs, and we could just form like a bigger platform to work together. So, yeah, so it's not like
again,
we don't
if
care,
you pay
we
us.
just don't have the knowledge.
Like this is what I've done my entire life as an activist, like going to spaces, and I think we know that all. And being asked, like, tell us something, because as I said, you will benefit sometime, someday, but I can't buy a bread of like just sharing my knowledge. So this is what as I said, I'm repeating myself.
We're at time, but I just wanted to see if any one of you have any closing comments, anything you want to share at the end of the day? Not that you have to. It is the end of the day. Anyway, thank you all so much. This was a fantastic session. I just want to maybe hand over to Gus in case there are any housekeeping announcements before we all leave. Got any housekeeping announcements?
Thank you, that's absolutely amazing. That is by a long way the longest presentation I've ever heard about the health of trans men, which isn't a comment on the length, it's a comment on the need for the length. And I think it is really, really good. I'm really sorry that we weren't able to include Dinah. She is quite seriously ill in Amsterdam. We really tried to do a video link with her. It just didn't happen. We needed a rehearsal. It didn't happen. I've asked her if she wants to send in her slides. I've also said we'd like to do more interviews for the PrEP in Europe website, and I've offered her a chance to do an interview because I think, I feel bad that she's not here to talk about her work. Anyway, a few housekeeping things. Dinner is 7:30, so you've got an hour to relax. And it officially finishes at 9:30, I was asked to tell you.
So thank you for sticking with us for the rest of the afternoon. It's been a great session. So we're just going through to the end of today. Gus is doing some housekeeping and letting people know when things are starting tomorrow. As we said at the beginning of this session, we're going to be back at 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. Poland time. tomorrow. We have another packed day. We're going right the way through Nick until probably 5 o'clock tomorrow. So another packed day. We have more panel discussions, more presentations, and also all of the delegates here have an opportunity to go and spend some time in small groups. You won't be able to join those small groups tomorrow, but you will be able to hear the feedback from those small groups in our very closing plenary. Nicholas, is there anything else that we need to do before we close today?
No, I think that's it. Thanks for watching, and
yep, thank you, and see you tomorrow.